Thank you very much, David, and I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to their elders past and present, to Rabbi Engel and Rabbanim, to the Premier, Daniel Andrews, to the Honourable Julia Gillard, to David Southwick and other members of Parliament, to faith leaders, to community leaders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is rare for me to come into this place, this Parliament, and to hear a speech from the Premier and to nod my head in agreement. But this is exactly what I've done, because the Premier is right. You can't quote me on that, Daniel. But on this occasion, the Premier is right. We do have and we do celebrate Australia's best Jewish community. We do celebrate the multiculturalism and the multi-faith nature of this state that makes this the best state in the country. It is so important that we are able to gather here and gather publicly to celebrate Hanukkah, because without religious freedom, without the ability to be who we are and to celebrate who we are and our faith, we are diminished. So that is something that is very important to us as Victorians and as Australians. It is something that we must always protect jealously. And as the Premier indicated, in a time where across the world some of the ugly voices of intolerance are starting to raise their voice, we must be louder, we must be stronger, we must be more united than ever to say that we will be a state, we will be a nation where people of faith can be who they are, can be proud of who they are, and can profess who they are. That is so important. When I was a young university student, back many years ago, in fact I had my school Year 12 30-year reunion last Friday, so I'm ageing myself there, but when I got to university, it was shortly after that the first Gulf War commenced. And on campus, it was a time when many of my Jewish friends felt very concerned about being who they were, about celebrating being Jewish and professing their faith, because there was an undercurrent on campus of concern when it's almost like Israel was being blamed for that Gulf War. And in times in human history, sometimes we see this ugliness rise up. Now, back then, I was, as a Catholic schoolboy going to university, I just wanted to stand with my friends. I wanted to stand with my Jewish friends and show my solidarity. So I joined the Melbourne University Jewish Student Society. I suspect I was the first and probably the last O'Brien who ever joined the Jewish Student Society. But I did, because the Jewish people are a proud people, are a magnificent contributor to this state, to this nation, and we need to stand with you. We need to stand with you and defend you if you are ever challenged. So this is something that I think all good Victorians will do. And the Premier is right, there is an absolute bipartisan commitment on both sides of politics to absolutely support our Jewish community. It's hard for me to even contemplate Victoria without the contribution that our Jewish community has made. In all fields, in law, in medicine, in politics, in business, in art, in social welfare, in education, in aged care. The Jewish community so often sets the highest standard and so often helps so many others beyond themselves. The charitable works of Victoria's Jewish community is legendary. Our greatest, arguably, I wouldn't say arguably, our greatest ever citizen, Sir John Monash, is an example of the contribution that the Jewish community has made to this state. So as we gather to celebrate Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights, as we gather to reflect, we should reflect proudly on what the Jewish community has contributed to Victoria, and do so knowing that we will stand with you, we will stand by you, and we will work to protect you and your faith and your ability to be proud of who you are, because Victoria needs you and everyone to be proud of who they are. Thank you very much.